we haven't seen a historic surge of corporate bankruptcies like this since the Great Recession. We all remember the Great Recession, 2008. Um, and and Biden and his administration and the Democrats, they continue to tell us how great the economy is, how they saved us from disaster, since the pandemic, and all these other lies, and they tell us like under what is it, unemployment is low, and all these other things that that we pretend, they pretend like we can't see. So we're gonna talk a little bit about it. It's this disgusting work that they're doing. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from the Activist Post, and they report that from Michael Snyder, and he reports that we continue to get numbers that indicate that the U.S. economy is steamrolling in the wrong direction as we approach the most chaotic election season in our history. Needless to say, the performance of the economy is going to play a major role in the outcome of the election, because millions upon millions of Americans are really suffering right now. Homelessness has been growing at the fastest pace ever recorded. Hunger and poverty are exploding, and we are in the midst of the cost of living crisis that doesn't seem to have any end in sight. And y'all know I've been saying for months upon months now that things are going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, there are signs that things will soon get even worse. Oops. I actually gave a little bit of foreshadowing there. But for example, we experienced a historic surge of corporate bankruptcies during the first half of this year that was worse than anything we have witnessed since the first half of 2010. Now, mind you, some pundits out there say, oh, there's always been bankruptcies, businesses always fail. Yeah, but not at this rate that we're seeing right now. But there's a historic surge of corporate bankruptcies underway in the U.S. as debt-saddled companies struggle to adjust to the new era of high interest rates. New figures published by S&P Global Intelligence show that 75 companies filed for bankruptcy in June, the highest number recorded in a single month since early 2020 at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. That pushed this year's total number of bankruptcies so far to 346, which is notably higher than comparable levels seen in the past 13 years. Before this, the highest half-year figure recorded was in 2010, with 437 companies filing for bankruptcy from January through June. So what's the pattern here? Who was running the country in 2010? Obama, the Democrats. Who's running the country now? Democrats, Biden. So we see what their policies actually do to businesses, how they hurt businesses and hurt the American people. How can you continue to vote this way? I don't understand. But during the first half of 2010, we were just coming out of the Great Recession. Do you remember how painful things were in those days? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. Sadly, I believe that is what is ahead of us, will be even more painful. The unprecedented measures that our leaders took to prop up the economy worked for a while, but now cracks are starting to show all over the place. A lot more businesses will go belly up during the months ahead. Earlier today, I was quite saddened to learn that Big Lots is on the verge of bankruptcy. Me too. I love Big Lots. And this is a store that average Americans go to. You know, this is not a high-end store. So again, everything that affects the middle class, we're seeing it now. We're seeing Red Lobsters not doing so well. We see McDonald's not doing so well. Big Lots now about to go into bankruptcy. It's because Biden single-handedly is destroying the middle class. It's hard out here for average Americans to spend, and they don't have the money to spend, and businesses like Big Lots that average middle-class Americans go to are suffering. Discount retail chain Big Lots said it will close up to 40 stores this year and may declare bankruptcy. The Columbus, Ohio-based company wrote in a quarterly Securities and Exchange Commission filing it expected further operating losses and has substantial doubt it can continue as a functioning business. That is crazy. Big Lots been around forever. Big Lots last month reported a net loss of $205 million in the quarter ending May 4th, 2024. That's unsustainable. Article goes on to say, when I lived in Virginia many years ago, I would shop at Big Lots quite a bit. Me too. I'm from Virginia too. I would shop at Big Lots often. I love Big Lots, especially when I was in college and I was trying to find cheap stuff like, mini fridges and little cheap stuff like that. You can go to Big Lots and get clearance stuff. And it always seemed to be doing fairly well. But now times have changed. Today, most Americans have very little discretionary income. In fact, surveys have shown that the vast majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck at this point. A 2023 survey conducted by payroll.org highlighted that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, a 6% increase from the previous year. In other words, more than 3/4 of Americans struggle to save or invest after paying for their monthly expenses. Similarly, a 2023 Forbes Advisor survey revealed that nearly 70% of respondents either identified as living paycheck to paycheck, 40%, or even more concerning, reported their income doesn't even cover their standard of expenses. That's scary. 29%. So as soon as their paycheck coming in, all of it is going right back out. 29% of the American people. There is no way to spin those numbers in a positive manner. Although we know the mainstream media would try to spin it or either spin it or ignore it altogether. Any way that you look at them, they are absolutely horrible. The middle class is being ripped to shreds, and those that are running the system seem to be all out of answers. Young adults in particular are having a very difficult time in this environment. According to a survey that was recently conducted by Bank of America, almost half of all adult members of Generation Z, quote, are relying on financial help from their parents and family members. And that's so true. It's crazy. Grown-ass adults struggling and having to get money from their parents. So it's crazy. A new survey by Bank of America finds that nearly half of adult members of Gen Z are relying on financial help from their parents and family members to get by. The survey for Banks of America Better Money Habits team found that 46% of Gen Z are receiving financial assistance from their parents or other family members, a figure that declined to 30% for Gen Z, that declines to 30% for Gen Z non-students. Have you noticed that so many young adults seem to be very bitter and very angry these days? This is one of the big reasons why they are in such a foul mood. Many of them are promised that life would be good if they studied hard, went to college, and did all the right things. But now many of them are discovering that the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow was just an illusion. Of course, there's a small sliver of society that is still doing exceptionally well. The less than 1%. Flooding the system with trillions upon trillions of dollars have been very good for financial markets, and those with lots of money in the financial market have been living the high life. In Jackson Hole, Wyoming, millionaires are complaining that the town is being ruined by all of the billionaires that are now moving in. So even the millionaires are pissed. It said millionaires once accused of ruining a gorgeous town in Wyoming now complain that they are being driven out of the area by billionaires. Jackson Hole has long been a popular vacation spot for celebrities including Ryan Gosling, Eva Mendes, and Matthew McConaughey. An influx of wealthy people sent house prices skyrocketing and forced ordinary workers to live on the other side of the mountain on the Idaho-Wyoming border. Let me tell y'all, if y'all live in a good community, and policy, the political stuff, local politics is good. You're doing well. You're surviving. Do not put it out there. Do not let these millionaires and billionaires get a hold of your area, because they will force you out. Keep it a secret. But there are more billionaires in America today than ever before. That is the good news. The bad news is that there are more homeless people in America today than ever before. The ranks of the poor are growing very rapidly, and more Americans are falling out of the middle class with each passing day. The wealthy may think that all of the wealth that they have piled up will insulate them from unprecedented chaos that is approaching, but the truth is that a day of reckoning is coming for them too. In the end, the entire system is going to completely and utterly fail, and those that believe that the party will last forever will be bitterly, bitterly disappointed. And I totally agree with that. I mean, because you can't keep kicking this can down the road. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay for this. It's gonna have to come from somewhere. That's why I keep saying it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.